Fear took hold of Wolf's men. Whispers spread that Helm Hammerhand was human no more. A terror, born of madness and grief.
Brian, let me tell you, this film is absolutely incredible. As a Lord of the Rings fan, this works on so many levels, but also, even if you don't know Lord of the Rings, this is a fantastic film. But Brian, for you, what was it about the world of Middle-earth that fascinated you and made this role exciting, an exciting opportunity for you?
Well, it's just a great script. It's a great story. I didn't know The Lord of the Rings. I mean, I wasn't a Tolkien fan at all. I mean, it's not that I didn't like him. Through Peter Jackson, I actually started to read the books, actually. And so I'm grateful to Peter Jackson for that. And I really liked The Hobbit. I thought, wow. And also reminded me a lot of my own culture. There's very, the mystical elements of Celtic thing and the Norse as well. Those elements that are very prevalent in the UK that we tend to forget about. I think that Tolkien captured that brilliantly, and that was the allegorical nature of his work was quite stunning, So I really appreciated him, and thanks to Peter, I really got into it. But before, no clue.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I knew about Tolkien, but it's sort of, but I didn't focus on it because I had other fish to fry, as it were.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, can you talk about your approach to capturing Helm's Hammerhand's demonic drive and the blend of leadership with his role as a loving father?
Well, if you've played any of Shakespeare, if you play Ibsen, if you play major classical characters, there's always the element of obsession. They're obsessed. Hamlet's obsessed. Macbeth is obsessed. King Lear in his dotage is also obsessed. Othello's obsessed. Iago is particularly obsessed. So I once played those roles, So this is this is mother's milk to me. Helm is just something that is like part of the repertoire that you go and say, oh, I'll do that. It's like saying I shall play an Elgar suite, or whatever.
Right.
So now, that was what that meant to me, and I thought, wow, this is a no-brainer. And I thought, finally, they've cast me in a role that I know I can play better than anybody. So, without being too vainglorious about it, just technically, I understand the work, and I understand what is needed in especially if you're in the theatre. You understand that you have to modulate. You have to be able to pitch quite hard on certain, allow the voice to go, even quite shrill, but then be able to modulate it, be able to pull it back, not let it play you. You're still in charge, So absolutely. And my passion is the radio. I mean, my favorite media is the radio. I love radio. I love radio more than I love film at all. I love radio because you don't have to learn your lines. It's all there. You don't have to wear a costume or makeup. You're just in your own suit. It's great. It's the best. And you create a world. And that's the simple thing that you do when you come to this. You take the script and you create a world.
I love that. I love that. Now, can you talk about the evolving relationship with Helm and his daughter Hedda and what you hope audiences take away from their modern dynamic?
Well, God, I'm sort of getting a bit repetitive on this one, but to me, it's the allegorical nature of the War of the Rohirrim. We start off with a king who's being threatened by quite an ugly person, and I feel very sorry for Wolf that he's got such an ugly father. If his father was a bit more handsome, we'd be a bit more forgiving of Wolf's obsession. But because his father is, really quite an ugly human being, right. not just in terms of his look, but in terms of what he is, you realize that poor Wolf is doomed. He's doomed from the word go because of he's got to think in a certain direction, and it's not what he should be doing. So the allegorical nature of the film, for me, it's about a kind of how the patriarchy can implode on itself, and how we're left at the end with the great gesture of him shutting the door and talking through the door at her and protecting his daughter, and also cutting out the patriarchal life, closing it down. So she becomes, it's the beginning of the matriarchy, and it's the beginning of something which is we haven't yet even experienced now, do we not? So especially with what's going on in the world at the moment, I think the film is incredibly allegorical. It really tells a tale about us now as much as anything else.
Absolutely, something that's something Tolkien was always great at, is telling timeless stories, and this is no different. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Take care.
What are you doing? Rohan still needs you.
No, Hera. They need you. You must lead them now.